What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. Back outside my favourite dealership in Sheffield, Via Moto. Busy as always, delivering loads of bikes. Via Moto, for those who don't know, have not seen a lot of my videos here, they are Aprilia, Honda, Moto Guzzi, Piaggio and Vespa dealerships, and Via Moto have kindly loaned me a bike this morning to review, something I'm quite interested in. It's the brand new 2021 Honda NC750X. But I'm going to go and take it out first, do what I usually do, excuse the noise, but I'm going to take it out, give you first impressions straight off the bat, what I think about it, then we'll stop, we'll do a walk round, we'll do some further impressions and then a wrap up, as I've spent like pretty much all day I'm going to spend on it today. It's heavily revised, heavily improved for 2021, new engine, new electronics, ride-by-wire throttle, new fairings, but we'll go over that when I do a walk round in a bit. But for now, let's jump on it and let's go and figure it all out.
Right, Honda NC750X 2021 model, all new, lots of changes. Let's get on it and see what it's all about. Right, usual format, just drive out the dealership, tell you what I think. Immediate first impressions. Immediate first impressions are, it's got super low seat height, which is really comfy. I'm 6 foot tall, 17 stone. Anybody you know, who's considerably smaller will have no problems fitting on this bike. Yeah, really comfy, feels nice and light, nice and manoeuvrable, feels quite long, but that's good because my arms are out at a really nice angle. This is the DCT version, DCT, ABS. Like I said before, this is a brand new model for 2021. Lots of different changes, styling changes, engine changes, electronics changes. It's now got a fly-by-wire throttle. There's new riding modes, different levels of traction control. I'll go over all that when we stop, and I'll do a walk around of the bike. I'll walk you through everything and do some spec chat. As usual though, it looks like I've got to put some fuel in it. I'll go and put some petrol in it first. Yeah, but I'll give you my first impressions, and then we're going to go and take it and do some touring on it, do some riding, what this thing was meant for. It's an important bike for Honda, I think. They're going to sell a lot of these. The last one was really popular. It's an extremely popular machine, and I think that just looking at this, it's a really good looking, modern, sharp, sleek looking thing. That was another first impression I had. I thought the looks of it were really nice, and like I say, it's super comfortable. Typical Honda build quality, lovely paint. I think you can get it in red, blue and black. I think it's a white as well actually, but I'll confirm that. Nice clear dashboard. I think the suspension changes that they made though were one of the more significant, because they reduced it by I want to say 30mm, but it could be 20. Again, I'll put that up. What they've effectively done there is mean that this is no longer in that sort of baby Africa twin take it off-road space. Lovely. Yeah, first impressions are it's really nice. Kicks down nice, plenty of mid-range. The throttle's lovely, you can tell the ride-by-wire. No jerkiness or snatchiness. A bit windy today, so excuse the audio if it's a bit bad. So yeah, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and ride this now, give you some first impressions. I'm going to go and give this a good run, take it on the motorway, do some touring on it, and then we'll report back and then stop and do a bit of a walk around, talk you through some of the features. So I'll catch up with you in a bit. Any fuel caps under the seat. Right, let's do the patented walking back from the petrol station test at about the looks. Looks really nice from the front, pretty smart. I like how that headlight sort of split into two. Really nice sharp angles, and this blue paint is lovely. Yeah, I think they've really made some good improvements on the aesthetics this year compared to what the old model was like. Really nice to see. You know, these kind of bikes, like, you know, commuting, touring type bikes, are not always the most exciting, and got a, you know, they don't always get the most love off designers, I think, sometimes. It's often seen as a bit old-manny, but they've definitely tried to modernise this. I think they've done a good job. So another good thing I've just realised about the bike, the brakes are excellent. Got Nissin calipers on here. They're really good. A lot of bite, a lot of stopping power. Just had to jam on a little bit for some plonker who pulled out in front of me, and they're really good. Good amount of feel. And also just cruising down there with that, they're resurfacing the road. It's garbage. The suspension's lovely. Although they've reduced the travel by 30mm, they've apparently set the suspension up for optimal damping and rebound, compression damping and rebound settings. I promise I have not read that. But it's plush, it's lovely, it's really nice. So yeah, let's jump on this motorway now and go and see how it handles that. Right, so having sat on the motorway for 20 minutes or so, I can give you a bit more information on what it's like for touring now. So the screen's really good. Again, I'm 6 foot tall, I'm getting very little buffeting, even on a windy day. These fairings seem to be protecting my leg, get a little bit around my upper bodies, but nothing too unmanageable. The bike sits lovely at motorway speeds, plenty of power, it's really smooth. Gearing seems to feel just set up just nice for that. When you need to power down to overtake, the DCT gearbox is brilliant. It's really quick. But you've also got on the left handlebar here, you can change gears. Look, using the there's a plus on the front and a minus on the bike switch if you want a bit more control, which I kind of like, but I think it's probably a bit gimmicky as well, to be honest, because the DCT gearbox is so good. But look, quick gear down, get around this now. I mean, you know, I rode the 1290 Super Adventure recently, and you know, it's not that sort of power, but it's not that sort of bike. You know, it's £6 grand less than that, I think. This is very much aimed at the sort of commuting slash touring adventure market, a different space to that bike. But this is so comfortable, really capable actually. And for the money, if this is the sort of bike that you're after, it's a good shout. Like, my legs are bent. Look how much leg room you've got. The seat is so low, which is not a bad thing. So I'm going to head down and find somewhere to do a walk around of this now. But having ridden it for a while, for what this is intended for, you know, touring, commuting, brilliant, really good. Plenty of power pulling away from there. Handles nice. Pulling onto slip road now, I mean, you're effortlessly up to 70 at motorway speeds. There's really plenty. I mean, like I said before, it's not a nutter of an engine, but it's not meant to be. And do you really need that on this bike? Probably not. Well, definitely not. Yeah, actually quite pleasantly surprised with the power. Alright, let's go and have a walk round. Let's take this little Badger adventuring a second. I'm gonna go and find somewhere to do a walk round. It is designed to go a bit off-road after all. This is a legal bikeway before anybody gets in the comments. So the suspension again is really good on this. It handles these bumps, even off-road here, really nice. It's soaking things up. Like I said, they've reduced the ground clearance, so you're not going to get away with too much crazy off-roading. I know this lane, and I know where it goes, so I know it's pretty mild. But in fact, let's pull in here. But yeah, the suspension is a really standout thing about this bike. Super comfortable. The overall comfort, actually, suspension, riding position, really good. Alright, let me get off and walk you around some of the key features. Right, so what do you think? This is a new 2021 Honda NC750X. Lots of changes, like a lot of Honda's bikes for 21. They've just basically given it it's a whole new bike, basically. They've changed most of their lineup, actually. But if we start with the engine, so it's parallel twin, but it's a really torquey engine. It feels plenty of mid-range, that overtaking, pulling onto motorway slip roads that I just showed you earlier. Really good. So it's 745cc, but it's still up 4 brake horsepower. On the old model, so it's 58 instead of 54 brake horsepower. Peak power comes in at 6,700 RPM. You know, and it feels like a really smooth, linear, relaxed is not the right way of saying it, but you get what I'm saying. It feels like a really nice, chilled out ride, but there's power on tap if you need it. The 50.9 pound-feet of torque as well, which is improvement on the last model. It's been a result really of tweaks to the exhaust. As I said before, the electronic systems now enable them to have a ride-by-wire throttle, which is gorgeous. It's really good. You can have this in A2 legal mode as well, 47 horsepower, which is just basically a different throttle body and ECU map. Honda dealers can sort that out for you, just remap it basically. So really they're trying to make this available to the masses, and I think that's another reason why they've reduced that suspension height. It's cleaner, but it's slightly less economical, so it gives you about 79.9 miles to gallon. Used to be about 1 mile to the gallon less, apparently. So you're looking at about 250 miles from a tank, and really that's what this bike's all about, isn't it? Touring and commuting, I guess. So they've changed the gears a little bit, the ratios in first, second and third, gives you much better acceleration, but then they've made 4th, 5th and 6th more economy friendly. There's a DCT version, which is what we're on now, and a manual version. And again, there's an improved traction control. It gives you multiple riding modes, as I showed you. So you've got sport with the most aggressive power delivery, but that reduces traction control. You've got standard, rain, and then user. Excuse me. In fact, let's show you on the dashboard now. So we go mode, we can change sport, user, rain, standard, as I showed you before. And if you go into user, you can change each one of these specifically and configure it how you want it. So you've got power, engine braking, traction, and that's the ferocity of the gear changes basically. That's pretty cool. All your usual stuff, miles, trip meters, etc. Miles per gallon, fuel consumption, all good stuff. Storage wise, just show you here. If you turn the key to the right, enough for a full face helmet in there. Turn it to the left, this seat comes up, that's where your fuel is. It's got a nice little like a bonnet catch on there. That's pretty cool. Alright, so yeah, so the chassis has been changed. They've reduced the thickness of it in various areas, which should save 1.8 kilograms. They've moved battery around, so you've got more storage space. There's loads of room, as I just showed you. And the suspension, I've talked about this before, but it's been tweaked.
You know, I think Honda know that nobody's going to take this off-road, apart from me. So what they've done is they've changed the fork travel from 100. Okay, so it's 153 mils to 120 mils. So they've dropped at the front, and they've dropped the rear shock 150 to 120. So about 30 mil across. And they think, I'm surmising a bit here, but I think they just must assume that that's a good trade-off. You know, reduce the seat height, make it more accessible to people, but you're going to lose a bit of off-road capability. Well, I think that's fair enough. I think it's the right move. Yeah, so styling. Look, we all have our own opinion on what looks nice and what doesn't. I think for what this is, I think this is a cool, modern thing. I've showed you the LCD dash. It's got LED lights, including a tail light. You know, you can add big top boxes and panniers and taller screens and all sorts of accessories for touring if you want to this. It really is a good all-round bike. So yeah, pretty impressed. So let's go and give it some more riding now. I'm in some country lanes now, so I'm going to take it up and down some twisties and some slightly better roads, and then we can wrap up and give you a summary about how it rides a bit more in depth as we ride.
Right, let's put it in sport mode. I find that's my favourite. You get full power, turns the traction off, but you could put it in user mode. So in sport mode you get full power, full engine braking and full gearbox ferocity, but no traction control 1. If you wanted to, you could go to user mode and just configure that with more traction. It's up to you. But just pulling away from there then, lovely little torquey engine. Yeah, really nice. Been on it a while now, so I can tell you a bit more about it, but the bike feels light. It feels nimble. It doesn't feel like a lazy turning like the Africa Twin did. It's got a smaller front wheel, which clearly helps. It feels really nice and manoeuvrable, like just moving it around city and like town driving. You can tell, and the seating position, you know, everything's just perfectly for set up for comfort and ergonomics. The drivetrain and the gearbox as well really stand out. This throttle is just, look at that pulling out of here, really nice, smooth power. The throttle's beautiful as well. They're really nailing throttles these days, but this one in particular is pretty up there with the rest of them. Oh yeah, great little fun thing this. Tips in nice, powers out. This sounds alright as well. Parallel twin, not a V-twin. It's definitely a good, really good actually all-round bike. I think if you're in the market to buy something for a bit of commuting, a bit of touring, a bit of adventure riding, you know, a bit of everything, then this would have to be up there, because it's a quality thing as well. It feels quality on it. The suspension feels so like compliant and supple. Really nice. Switch gear and everything, typical Honda. You know, we all know Honda build quality. I'm really surprised at how nicely it handles. Yeah, I'm really pleasantly surprised at this. You know, this channel's not all about testing superbikes and hyper nakeds and things. I like a bit of variety and I like to mix it up. And I really enjoy riding bikes like this because there's no bullshit about them. There's no posing about them. You know, they're very honest really. It's just kind of, it's there to do a job, to get you from A to B, to do some touring. You know, there's no fanciness about it. Yeah, and you know, you can actually use all the power and all the things, the way that this is built, and the thought that's gone into it is actually useful in normal everyday riding. Right, this stretch of road's pretty good for finding out bikes. It's bumpy, it's fast, there's some faster corners, some slow corners. Let's go and see if we can see what this suspension's made of. So it's really confidence inspiring around these faster sweepers there. Suspension feels really sorted and planted but compliant, I think is how I would say it. Alright, this is a famous set of bends. This really tests out your handling on the bike. Well, I'm going to run into a Renault Scenic, I think, at some point in them. Yeah, very good. This is a tight one. Fell off here before. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, you can have fun on this. Flick, flick. Yeah, not bad. Moves from side to side nicely. Okay, off camber. No dramas. Okay, okay. Right, one less test here. This road is hyper bumpy. Really bad quality road. Not bad. Soaking it up. On little back roads like this, you know, there's such a argument for engines of this sort of power being plenty. This is handling better than my Ducati on this road because of the bumps. It's taking the bumps so well. I know that might sound like a stretch, but if you know, you know. Excellent. Really good. Really, really good. No self-cancelling indicators though, as I've just noticed. Right, I'm going to go home and grab some lunch and a cup of tea, and then go out for another couple of hours, and then I'll do a wrap up and go through each and every bit of this bike as we're riding, and talk you through what I think's good and bad. But so far, really impressed. Really, really impressed. Very good. Right, catch you up with you in a bit. Been out on this 21 Honda NC750X for a few hours now. Just wanted to wrap up my thoughts really, and give you a summary of what I think about the bike. I'm really impressed. It's a great little package. Obviously, as a touring slash commuter slash utility slash workhorse bike, whatever you want to call it, whatever segment it sits in, it's really, really good. So let me start by talking about each of the different components. So we talk about the drivetrain. So starting at the throttle, where everything begins, excellent, really smooth throttle, no jerkiness. I'm in sport mode, in all the different modes, sport, user, rain, standard. The throttle's beautiful. There's a great connection between the throttle and the feeling that you get through the bike, and it's all connected, and the suspension helps that as well, but I'll come to that in a bit. So the throttle's really nice. The power's got a really sort of smooth, linear, torquey feel. You know, it's not a massive horsepower monster, we know that, but it's not meant to be. But there's plenty of poke to give you a nice overtake like this. Drop it down a gear and away you go, no problems at all. You know, the engine's got enough power to be fun, particularly around like the back lanes and the twisties. You know, there's more than enough really to fire you out of these corners. The gearbox, the DCT gearbox, because of the ride-by-wire throttle's really nice, really smooth. You can use the gearbox in manual mode as well if you want, which is pretty cool. And just flying around these corners now, I think you can tell what the handling's like. For a bike of this price point, I've never ridden anything with such nice suspension. You know, it's like just a brilliantly sorted suspension setup. Again, you know, I'm 6 foot 17 stone, so it might be different for other people, but for me, it soaks up the bumps. It's plush. You know, it feels really planted and solid in corners. It turns in quickly. It feels light and manoeuvrable. Really good. So yeah, suspension is for me stand out. The suspension and the throttle are two things that really stand out as excellent for me. That whole drivetrain, to be honest with you, you know, if don't be expecting a Super Duke R, because that's not what it is, but it's not what it's supposed to be. It's plenty pokey and fun enough. Yeah, the build quality, so the build quality is brilliant. It's Honda, you know, the switch gear is great, the screen works well, it keeps you from being buffeted. You know, I've done quite a few motorway miles today and I've been pretty comfortable, a little bit around the tops of the shoulders, but not too much, you know, plenty of protection for touring. Yeah, it does just fire out of those corners with just ease. Brakes, another standout thing actually, I keep forgetting about this, I often forget to talk about brakes, but the brakes are brilliant, they're really bitey and progressive, like look at that, excellent. ABS obviously, yeah, they're fantastic brakes. Technology's good on it. You've got 3-level traction control. You've got configurability of power modes, engine braking modes, traction control, and gearbox velocity. Again, there's just to repeat, but there's 3 different modes, and then there's a 4th mode, which is a user configurable mode. So you could have, you know, maximum power, maximum traction, or you know, with a softer gearbox, whatever you want, really, basically. The dashboard is clear and usable. What do I think? From just the general sort of smileability, which is really important when you're buying a bike, but it's just a sort of bike that makes you smile. I think it looks great for what it is. I think it's really nice. I think the value for money is amazing, and it's a lot of bike. You know, I've been hooning around some bike lanes, and I'll be honest with you, you know, I'm having as much fun on this as I've done on lots of big super bikes and, you know, Tuonos and things like that. And riding different bikes all the time, like I've been doing lately and reviewing them for the channel, really does give you a different perspective on motorbikes sometimes. You know, you can have a massive amount of fun on bikes that you would not necessarily associate with being for that purpose. You know, you think, well, this is a tour, it's a commute, it's for getting to work, it's a, you know, pretty dull, mundane bike, really, but it just isn't. You know, there's plenty of fun to be had, and you know, UK roads, how fast can you go? And these bumps, it's just eating up with absolute pleasure. So yeah, so I think this is as an all-round bike, and you know, a jack of all trades, do everything. It's a very excellent value machine, and I would very, very strongly recommend anybody try it if you're in the market or in this segment, or maybe not even considering this segment. Maybe you think you need something with more power. Give something like this a go. Go and hit up Gary at Via Moto, and again, a big thanks to them. They're always supporting me, and I appreciate them for that. They're the best dealership in Sheffield by far. They're so good to me and to the customers in general. But yeah, hit up Gary at Via Moto. Just have a chat to him, and he'll let you take one of these out, and compare it to, you know, something what you think you might be wanting. I don't know. But yeah, give it a whirl, because it's really good. I'm just enjoying myself on these twisty country lanes, like really enjoying myself on a, you know, a touring / commuter bike, which is nice, you know, really nice. What else? Mirrors are good. Negative points, there's not too many. I think the dashboard's a bit you know, 2 or 3 generations behind, but you know, it's got fuel gauge, it's clear, it's got everything you need. But you know, dashboard's not as great. What did I think about? Like, I want to say it could have more power, but I'm contradicting myself. You know, it's not. It doesn't really need any more power, I don't think. But some people might think they want a bit more power. Losing the off-road capability, just be aware of that. You know, it might be an issue for some, although I can't see it. Look at this around these twisters. So much fun. Yeah. What else can I think about this? I think there's a bit of a miss that they've not put cruise control on this. I think with a fly-by-wire throttle, I'm not sure why there's no cruise control. I guess if you start putting cruise control and things like that on, then prices have to go up. So manufacturers need to make a decision as to where to pitch a certain product. So yeah, so those are kind of points to improve on, maybe. But I think overall this is a brilliant new bike, much better than the last one. Very, very impressed. Yeah, really, really impressed. Listen, I hope you like the video. I hope you like the review. Hope it's of use to you. You know, I never profess to be a professional reviewer. I'm just some Norman who you know, rides around on bikes and tells you what I think about them. You know, there's plenty of people more qualified than I am, but sometimes I think people find that useful, that it's not a sanitized, you know, professional's opinion. It's just a normal everyday rider. So yeah, look, if you do like it, if you could hit the like button, it really helps me out. Helps other people find the video as well. And if you want to see more, if you could hit the subscribe button too, that really goes a long way to helping me out as well. You can also follow me on Patreon, patreon.com/mostly motorbikes, where I upload a fair bit of behind the scenes footage. You get early access to my videos, ad free, and there's also an opportunity to win a track or off-road day with yours truly, paid for by yours truly, in the UK. Unfortunately, I can't stretch to international track days yet. So yeah, all that being said, I hope you like the video, and yeah, see you on the next one.